Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, What's New in Essentials. If at any point today you have a question or a comment, please place it in the chat or Q&A window, and the presenters will address it as time allows. This webinar is being recorded. You will receive a link to the recording within a few business days via email, and you can use it to review or share with a colleague. Presenting today, we have Jason E. Smith, VP Alliances and Product Marketing with Liquidware, and Chris Walker, Senior Solutions Architect and Subject Matter Expert for Stratosphere North America with Liquidware. Jason, why don't you kick us off and get us started?
Thanks, Kristen. Glad to have everyone on here. Just looking at some of the names as we were getting started. We can play a little romper room at first and give a shout out to Adam, John, Barry. See plenty of folks out there that are looking forward to learning what's new in our Essential Suite. We do these every 6 months, and we've done them without fail for the last several years. The purpose of it is so customers, we deeply appreciate you, will get to see at a glance what's new and be reminded of why they've chosen the best workspace management suite in the industry, and to see our innovation. Sometimes we show a little bit of a sneak preview of what's coming in a couple of upcoming versions, but more or less this is what's new in the last 18 months of our solution set. We also invite prospects or people that are about to undergo a desktop transformation that are considering Liquidware solutions to join. So we have those with us today, and we'd like to welcome you. And in the spirit of that, we always give a quick overview of some of the solutions that we offer, all the solutions that we really offer to the market. As Kristen said, please put your questions right there in the chat window. It makes for a much more interesting webinar. Even if it's something that you may sort of know, if you think the audience needs to know it, phrase it in a question and we'll let everyone know, because possibly I've forgotten to say something. We've got plenty of partners on this call, and maybe even some employees that can remind us of some of the great things that we're doing that I simply might have forgotten. Digital workspace management is where Liquidware plays in the market. We are a leader in that market. We called that adaptive workspace management for quite some time, and that's still on the wall behind me on this trade show graphic that was left over from one of the Citrix Energy shows, and we look forward to getting back out there and doing some of those again. But we help you adapt. That's why I remind you that we do help every organization adapt and transform to the next way of doing Windows. Ongoing management is what we do daily in your environment. But when you're ready to move from Citrix to VMware, from VMware to Citrix, from any of those to Amazon Workspaces, maybe you're considering that, maybe you're considering Nutanix Frame. A lot of organizations are saying, is Microsoft AVD far enough along for me to consider that, or Windows 365? Those are the times that we might be able to help you even most, because that's when we help users adapt. You can set up the new environment. It's Windows. Even from an old OS, those users can seamlessly flow in with, now we're back to the slide, user environment management from Profile Unity. That'll go across. Application layering. Those packages, any app can be packaged this way, virtually any app. They'll flow with you from OS to OS version. You don't need to repackage. Some technologies like Citrix and others make you repackage every time you update that OS to a new OS. These are once and done. They'll flow with the user. And this is something that we market over and above App Volumes even. We are great partners with both of them, but this is the advanced use case and the easier use case to have applications follow the user. And then Stratosphere UX with monitoring and diagnostics. UX literally stands for user experience. Digital user experience, knowing that in the legacy environment that you're moving from, knowing and baselining that and moving over to tell you the performance of the environment you're moving into. Maybe you're doing a POC of AVD, and you want to see how those users in that POC are doing against the baseline that you set forth. Stratosphere UX is a great way to do that, but it has diagnostics once you get into those environments for a daily basis, helping you remediate, troubleshoot, find out where those stress points are in that environment so you can upsize to a new compute in the cloud, for example, or you can upsize your hardware in the data center to make things run better, or basically to streamline your base image because you have a lot of apps out there that are no longer being used. It is a big cost saver. We're going to do a webinar on that planned for August. Chris and I and Thomas are going to do a webinar on cost savings with Stratosphere. And just as a reminder, we have an ROI for all of our solutions where you can gain really quick ROI, lower your total cost of ownership. Buzzwords, I know, but truly organizations, customers are saving hundreds of thousands, in some cases, millions of dollars in hardware because we've streamlined the way that Windows is delivered. We work across any desktop, virtual, cloud, or physical. And there's some nuances of physical in there, but even FlexApp now supports physical environments with FlexApp 1. And I'm going to go first, and then we'll hand it back over to Chris. This is a screenshot of what Profile Unity will look like in version 6.8.5, and I'll show you in a minute. That's out and planned to be out in the fourth quarter of this year, third or fourth quarter in this year. And so a little bit of this is a sneak preview. I put those things in green, things that you may have never seen before. So this is where you are getting a sneak preview, not just what's new in the last 18 months. Everything else circled in the gray circles, if you've seen my presentations before, are some of the most popular features that our customers use. And not in order there, but they use profile portability. Profile portability will help a profile remediate, and that's what makes it remediate between Windows versions. It works with standard profiles and then makes the profile portable, or it works with FS Logics from Microsoft. We can remediate an FS Logics profile. They can't go across Windows OS versions. Our profile does. And it also works with our profile on disk as well, similar to FS Logic. So if you're using that instead, it will remediate that. That's the magic that helps users never migrate. And it's a key feature of Profile Unity. We can make sure that drive mappings are in place, folder redirections are in place, which is also circled here. We can harvest out the contents of shell folders like documents and other things that users create, get those in the cloud or in the file share, and then they're picked up and they're available anywhere the user goes. So follow the user data, and it's key, so user data is not left behind. We do that in the background, and if you're not using that feature, that's a feature and you're a current customer, you ought to be considering it because it gets you in a best practice state of being for making sure shell folders are redirected and data follows the user. Shell folders, I mean pictures, I mean documents. You can leave any of those behind with some file type associations, which are file types that are in that feature set. If you don't want MPEGs to flow with the user, that's fine too. Printer assignments, IP printers is going to be new in this upcoming version. That's why it's in green. We've got AppStream apps shortcuts to help you apply Flex apps into AppStream apps and help you manage AppStream apps if you're an Amazon customer using that. Flex App 1, that feature set is going to be new in the UI. We're already shipping and delivering Flex App 1 as a feature set, but we're going to have ways in there that you can actually assign Flex Apps for 1 packages from within Profile Unity itself, if you wish to do so. Right now, you can assign them by any means necessary, including Intune. Manage your MSIX apps. Basically, you're applying those and registering those in there so they ring true off of the network or cache them down to the endpoint. App V apps, we've done those for a long time, but new in the UI there. We'll be able to, also new coming in 6.8.5, registry redirections. That in green there is going to be a new feature that we have. We've long had registry in there where you can manage the registry in HKLM level. That's a machine level. User can't undo that if they're a standard user. So it's a secure way to help lock down the desktops. So trigger points and other things, filter management, portability management, all those things are the most popular. So you get a little bit of a sneak preview here of what's new.
Hey, Jason.
Yep.
Jason. Go back to that slide one more second.
Yep.
So here in the UI, what you're seeing is the MSIX and AppV deployment through Profile Unity. Also, which is available today for some of our customers if you want to play with it, the 685 packaging console can actually take an MSIX and convert it into a FlexApp package. So here in the console, this is pure just deployment of MSIX. The existing our beta FlexApp packaging console 685, which some of our customers are playing with, can help you convert MSIX and AppVs to a FlexApp package. Very powerful feature that's actually kind of available behind the scenes. If you need that, reach out to your local SE.
Yeah, that's a great point of clarification, Chris. Thank you for that. So the MSIX apps is basically the native Windows MSIX running and being registered in the system, but we can also convert that to a Flex app where they're simply attached and follow the user as well.
Yep.
So very, very much a lot of feature sets that you may not have known if you're a customer you have access to or you are coming soon. As we say, we recap what's new in the last 18 months or so. And this one just barely qualifies in here because it was December 8th of 2020. Just as a reminder, multi-session VHDs are now a thing with Profile Unity. The benefit is supporting simultaneous multi-logins and multi-user environments, and even VDI multi-login environments. So that's a great thing for that because it helps profile disk support, and it expands profile disk support in that area. And also when you're assigning VHDs for other reasons from within the Profile Unity console. Portability and multi-session profile disk templates help you get that set up easier than ever. We've enhanced the portability rule management with streamlined views of portability and rule details, so you don't have to click back and forth to see what was in a portability rule set. You can just basically hover and see what was in those rule sets without going into portability rule sets, which is where you go in there and set up a deluxe way to apply something. So maybe by user, by time of day, or both of those combined, and blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to flip all the way back to remind yourself, what was that portability rule set? They're right there all in one view. Similarly, we've done that there with context filter management. And the first one, portability, I should say, is what was in that rule set, what files and registry keys were in that rule set. I got ahead of myself. The next one is context aware filter management, and that is what I was describing. Who was in that group and what was that again? And you can see that without clicking back and forth. Enhanced UI views for navigation. And we are always making the product better as we find and fix even the smallest of bugs in there. So that was in December. We launched Flex App Package Automation last year at the request of some very large accounts and very large users. We have, if you're wondering if Flex App is being adopted, it's being adopted very well by the largest of organizations. And just to give you an idea, Liquidware has been around since 2009. The single largest license deal that we've ever done in the company history was done last year, and it was Flex App. So it is being very well adopted at a very large and enterprise level. So if you're not using that feature set within Profile Unity 2 and you have access to Flex App, you should go back and try it, because you're paying for something you're not using that can make your environment very efficient. And so they said, how do I do 20, 30, 100 applications? How do I get them in there? So Flex App Package Automation is something we worked on for a while, and we made it available last year. It's ideal for customers that have dozens to hundreds of apps. Now, if you have a few Flex App applications that you want to turn into Flex Apps, you can still use our packaging console, which is leveraged, by the way, with the automation anyhow. But it's when you get those dozens and just inundated by a number of applications that you want to onboard, you can automate the process. Now, most of the time, they'll go through just fine. You can set this on a Friday, go through this entire directory of installers, and on a Monday, for instance, they're available for testing. If there's one or two apps that did not complete, that doesn't mean they can't be Flex Apped. That means just go back and try them on the Flex App packaging console, and you may see a radio button or something we missed in the automation, and then the 100% they could come in as well. So Flex App automation is a big win. It gives you a list of the ones that likely packaged and did not, and it's a huge, huge time saver. No one else in the industry has really done this. Chris, you had something to add to that?
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons my customers are actually adopting this is for the consistency, right? So last month you packaged Chrome, you did it a certain way. This month it's my turn, I package Chrome, we did it differently. With the automation, it does it exactly the same way every single time. So engineers come in and out, different people being assigned to the project. That automation and consistency is key to application reliability.
Yeah, and I won't read the bullets, because likely while I was talking, you looked at the bullets as a viewer here. But very powerful features in there, industry standard type stuff with silent switches being recognized when you upload those and things like that. And then the graphic shows that you can set up multiple capture machines. So you can be automating, multiple packages all at the packaging all at the same time, and the process goes fast. When you package an app with FlexApp, it's fast. It's faster than Citrix. It's faster than VMware. I say that with authority because I have seen and we've compared directly one-to-one. Our packaging is so fast, it's almost the same as the amount of time it would take to install an app. So if you're doing something like Adobe Creative Suite and it takes you 20 minutes, 25 minutes to install it one time, that's about the same amount of time it takes with FlexApp and packaging it. So it's not a cumbersome thing to package one or a few apps, but when you have dozens, this is a big win.
Yeah, hundreds. And actually, some of our engineers, Jack Smith and some other PowerShell guys, Barry, have written PowerShell scripts that pull from Chocolatey and other application suites, in the cloud, and they've automated that entire process. The new version of Chrome comes up, it automatically downloads it and can stick it in your catalog and even deploy it if you want to. Don't recommend that, but you're dealing with, thousands or hundreds or thousands of applications. That integration can save you a lot of time.
Yep. We always recommend you test it first, just to verify that everything's good and we didn't miss a single thing. But it's highly accurate, given what it's doing. So FlexApp 1, we announced this in August of last year as well. And what this is self-contained apps. FlexApp has been tightly coupled with the Profile Unity console. Sometimes we call that the Liquidware Unified Console because it's two products being managed with one thing. But if you want a FlexApp 1 package to be as dynamic as possible, just to be able to share it, I could send Chris a file that has a single file with an app in it that maybe we're licensed to use something like Camtasia all over the company, and maybe he needs to use it, and he gets that and he opens that one file and it works. I'll show you a demo of it in a minute because actions speak louder than words. You'll see how incredible this is. It's a self-contained file, and it can work with any Windows session, any Windows session, even laptops. And that was one of the primary things that it was designed for, so you could take your apps offline. Now, there's some benefits to using the full-blown FlexApp with Profile Unity. For an enterprise, you want to tightly keep track of any apps that you put out there and anything like that. So you always have an inventory of who has what app, and you can also do registry fix-ups with those registry features I mentioned earlier. And so a lot of organizations see FlexApp 1 and they use it for some use cases. It's not a separate product, it's a feature, FlexApp 1, but they really mostly use FlexApp. It's up to you. But you can take a FlexApp 1 package, and you can even use Microsoft Endpoint Manager in Intune, and you can put that in there and apply it out there, assign it, as Intune calls it, to a specific group out there, and never have even one single anything Liquidware on those machines before. And that FlexApp 1 package will get everything that's needed out there. It's a little service that will make sure it's on the endpoint as soon as you open the self-contained file. And then, for example, if it were Camtasia, then it would open up. You'll see the demo. All right, let me show you that demo. It's pre-recorded. I recorded this myself, so no smoke and mirrors here. I did this a few weeks ago. I have actually a machine that has very few apps in it. It's been assigned to me. Maybe it's a Windows 365 machine, and I've done this here lately on that too. I have many apps in here in my OneDrive as FlexApp 1 apps. So my administrator said, there's a file out here. I'm sharing these by any means. I chose OneDrive. So they're following me. All these apps can follow me. These are the containers of that entire app. It's not the installer, it's the container of that entire app. Let me open Camtasia. Look, you see that message? That means the filter driver is not yet on this machine. Nothing Liquidware is on this machine, but now it is. And that's the only time that needs to happen. That filter driver's on there, and that's what makes the app look like it's natively installed. Makes all the files for Camtasia look like they are all over the system where they need to be. Adobe Creative Suite would do this too. It put them everywhere, and I'll show this in a moment. Look, Camtasia is a difficult app to use app v for or anything else because it has sound drivers and other things it needs to interface with, but I'm able to manipulate video in here. This is a video that we were editing out a couple months ago, and I'm able to do everything as if it is a native application, but it's not installed. You'll see it disappear from the entire file system in just a moment. And the other thing that I show here, as I can speed this up just a hair, is Adobe Creative Suite. I can put that in the system too. And then I can click that script there and it will actually put every single one of those packages within the OS. I think I hit the pause button. So now all of those applications are in the OS. They're actually in the start menu. So if a user is looking for something, it's not in some weird little player, it is natively in the OS. And here we have the entire Creative Suite in there. I'm opening up Photoshop. It's not installed. The filter driver makes Windows think it's installed. So I also have other things in here, Inkscape and other things. They look so native to the OS that even the Windows OS and add remove program files, they show up in there too. And they can interact with other applications. And so this is FlexApp 1. FlexApp works the same way. It's just that these are self-contained applications that you can share by any means necessary or distribute with something like VMware Workspace 1, because they can deploy software. I'm showing here where it's in the Windows add remove programs as well. When I refresh it, you see them all pop in. And then I want to show you how easy it is and to prove that they're not on the system. Then these files are, the filter driver makes it look like the files are in the system and the registry keys for that app are in the system. So if you know about applications, they install things in areas like program files. There is a lot of files that'll go into program files. And in this case, we'll show where TechSmith for Camtasia has a lot of files out there, and Adobe. I'll go over to Adobe, and there's literally thousands of files now that look like they're all over the system. This is what gives you a huge high degree of compatibility over and above AppV and ThinApp and other technologies. And look at that Adobe directory there. When I stop this application, and I can stop it as a user, that Adobe file that has those hundreds of applications of files in it just disappeared. It was never there to start with. Your base image is very clean and kept clean. And now Windows rot is largely a thing of the past because you don't have that traditional install, uninstall. Oh, it missed a few hundred files. Oh, it's slowing the machine down because it left some services behind. That doesn't happen with FlexApp. FlexApp totally has the apps back out of the system when you're refreshing them or updating them. That's the update. That's a demo of FlexApp 1, but FlexApp works the same way, just at a much more enterprise management level, and is coupled together with our management console. This is how you would assign that app out in Endpoint Manager. And we've got a demo that just went live on our website this week if you want to see more about this, but you simply assign it and it will get that package, that executable, in this case Chrome, down to the endpoint of the assignments that you give it. You can even have these apps show up in the company portal. You can assign them and put them out there too. So that's FlexApp 1. We're very excited about that, as you can tell and hear in my voice. The demo is just, it actually had someone, I did it in Boston here at an IGEL Disrupt lately, and someone in the room gasped out loud. I'm not kidding, when they saw the apps would disappear. So more updates, Profile Unity and FlexApp 6.8.4 R2 also was out in February. It largely had some updates and hot fixes in it. New paths overrides feature that easily allowed for finding and replacing paths in folder redirection within the UI. And it had filtering support for Workspace's protocols. And so some small updates, which is why it was called R2. We still encourage you to update to R2 if you have not already.
Yeah, the biggest thing for that is, customers ask me, hey, I'm on 6.8.4, do I need to go to 6.8.4 R2? You will see a noticeable increase in speed with 6.8.4 R2 because we changed out the engine for our filter engine. So I would still recommend 6.8.4 R2, not just for the bug fixes, but also for the decreased login times.
Thanks for that, Chris. And the reminder of that performance boost indeed. It came at a good time because I was coughing. I already had COVID, by the way, so I'm good. As far as 6.4.R2, I already said 6.8.5, as I said, is coming soon. We plan this in the Q3 now. That's the latest update of that. Here's some things that you can expect coming soon. You saw some of the icons out in the UI, and those green ones that I gave you a sneak peek, and you'll hear me kind of refer to those again. Universal folder and file redirection and registry redirection in there. I talked about that earlier. We plan to have cloaking in there, so you can do it within Profile Unity. We're compatible with FSLogix and that technique of cloaking today. So Profile Unity will run side by side. This will just give us cloaking capabilities directly within Profile Unity. You'll find that in the app restrictions module. Instead of restricting the app, you're cloaking it so it's hidden from the users that don't need to see that that's an app on the desktop. We can totally make those apps not appear at all in different methods with FlexApp and others. It's just another feature set that's been requested by our customers. In FlexApp, you'll have, as Chris said, convert MSIXs into FlexApps and AppVs as well. You saw some of those icons that were a different functionality in there. This is in the FlexApp packaging console. You'll be able to convert those in. FlexApp One integration into the packaging console, as you saw that in there, be able to assign FlexApp Ones if you want to from our management console, but if not, you assign those packages you saw in my demo by any means necessary. That means that even Nerdio Manager, we have a webinar next month with that. Go to our events page and register for it now, because Nerdio has made some waves in the AVD market, and now even Nerdio Manager can take a FlexApp One and push it out through a script. It's a pretty slick demo, and you'll get to meet our CEO and the Nerdio CEO on that webinar next month on the 21st. So mark your calendars and go ahead and register for that. And if you've got a conflict, you're on vacation, you get the recording link a little later, even if you register. The FlexApp Packager API is planned to be new and out at that time. Pre-caching the block map, being able to do predictive block caching, not just when an app opens or closes, getting more of those apps down to the endpoint. Usually you're on non-persistent machines, so they're wiped back off anyway, even the container. But this specifically helps with, even a performance increase. Triggers, support for compliance use cases in there, so there'll be more triggers in there that can apply. There'll be triggers that can apply to Flex apps. So I meant compliance update. So if you want to Flex app to an endpoint, but you don't want it after hours, like when the user is not supposed to be even working, financial apps, healthcare apps, things like that. 5 o'clock, we can make the apps disappear basically off the desktop, and they're not there without a reboot. So that's a pretty slick thing to have triggers for FlexApp coming. The packager will have built-in OS rollbacks in it, so it does leverage volume shadow copy service, but it helps clean up the packaging console or consoles if you're using multiple ones in our automation. Auto OS optimizations, so we're cleaning up the OS, making sure it's silent enough for the packages to be cleanly packaged. Version control, so there'll be a new field in there for packages rather than just having to rename, Photoshop 1, Photoshop 2. You can actually have version control through a new field that'll be in there. FlexApp alerts will post now to the event viewer, so you can do better any troubleshooting with our teams too. And you can merge layers, so no need to repackage. They're ideal for if you wanted to put 2 Flex apps into one container, for example, after the fact. Post login support, so after login, additional ways to layer and more ways to layer than the competition. More ways to layer an individual application, truly elastic application to the endpoint than Citrix app layering or app volumes. We're great alliance partners with them, but FlexApp is head and shoulders out front, above and beyond anything you'll see in those solutions in the market. More ways to layer and more innovation that you saw today than you've seen in those products in years, right? And we're going to continue to be out front above those basic tool sets and help Citrix customers and VMware customers continue on with their advanced use cases. I see we might have a question in the window. Kristen?
Yes, we do have a question, Jason. Let's see. It says, can I get a beta of 6.8.5?
I believe that we'll have that code out towards the end of this month. We already have it promised to one or two organizations I know, and we can likely get you on that list. So let's make a note of who that is and try our best to get that out to them as well.
Sounds good.
This is the feature Chris was talking about where you can take Flex app, MSIXs and AppVs right in the packaging console. And I've probably taken just a little bit too much time, so I'm going to give it over to Chris now. No, actually, we're pretty much on time. Chris, take it away. Tell us what's new with Stratosphere.
Thanks, Jason. So yeah, just kind of recap, as Jason was talking about, last year, June, 6.5.1 was released, and it took us until March 2022 to get our 6.6 version of Stratosphere out. The reason it took so long was we actually did an in-place upgrade of the kernel and the OS. So we switched out from CentOS to new Oracle Linux 8, mainly for longer term support, better compatibility, things like that. So it did take us a little bit longer time frame to get this out than we expected. But now all of our customers are reaping a lot of benefits from the new optimizations in Oracle Linux, performance, the web interface has been tuned up, machine location services. So I can actually tell you the city, state, and country that a machine is on. Local accounts for security. So did somebody crack my machine that I sent home and they actually put a local admin or user account on there that I didn't want to have? Windows 11 hardware upgrade. We've got Microsoft's best practices for in-place upgrades from Windows 10 to Windows 11, or do I have to just format the machine and will it support Windows 11? So there's a specific report just for hardware compatibility for Windows 11. Updated the spot check technology, what I like to call a robo check. Give me 50 parameters and hit go. So that technology is constantly evolving and allows you to go find some very complicated issues without having to flip through a bunch of screens. Go show me everybody running YouTube with over this amount of I/O where the CPU is at 80% and it's Tuesday. That would take you a long time to go through our interface. With the spot checks tab, literally press a button and answer the question. Dashboards, we added a new widget called Sand Key Diagrams. This is a multi-level view, so just another thing upgrading the dashboards and giving you more widgets and options. Our CID key, the agent, now supports Windows 11 and Server 2022, and local admins for security. So a lot of new stuff has come out in 6.6. We also just released a patch 6.6.0-2. It has about 15 different security patches in it. Because as you know, the U.S. military, our largest customer, they give us a certain amount of time to respond to Sev 1 and Sev 2 security patches in the OS. So if you have 6.6.0, please upgrade to 6.6.0-2. It is a in-place upgrade. If you're still on 6.5.1, remember that is CentOS. It is discontinued. No more security patches from the manufacturer. So therefore, we need our customers to upgrade for compatibility, security, and all the new features in 6.6. Jason, next slide.
I'll get there.
Yeah, it won't let me change. And one more space bar. There we go. All right, so some of the metrics in Stratosphere. We built this slide, I don't know, 6-8 months ago because people asking, what are the metrics? So I just want to give you a high-level view. CPU temperature comes in really handy. I gave out 10,000 machines. People are sitting at home with the machine in their lazy chair, sitting on top of a pillow. The machine is in heat protection mode, trying to keep it from catching on fire. That they're complaining about how slow Citrix is when actually it's their workstation. Their battery life. Is the firewall turned on? Is secure boot enabled? All of this is tracked. Make, model, serial number, BIOS data of the machine, monitor resolutions. So basically, you can't hide from my data. If you're having a problem with the network or the CPU on your machine, your Wi-Fi at your house, the frequency, maybe you think it's the VPN, actually it's your Wi-Fi at your house, all of that is tracked. Jason, one more spacebar, please. All users, all machines, all applications, all the time. So basically giving me a view of that user. Jason's on the road. He said, I had a problem last Tuesday. What was it? I'm the VP. I want to know what caused my issue last Tuesday. I have all that diagnostics from last Tuesday because we collect it all the time. Even if he's on the road, we have a configuration where we put Stratosphere in your DMZ, just a little collector, 2 CPU, 8 gig of RAM, small machine into your DMZ. So I can track Jason's machine. If he's on the internet, his machine is reporting to Stratosphere. Next slide. In 6.6, we also upgraded and reskinned the API builder. This gives you more options, faster interface, and better ability to build out those API calls. We are doing a huge amount of this with Power BI for our customers. They want to connect multiple Stratosphere instances. They want to have a really pretty interface, because my dashboards, I've got like 12 widgets now. Power BI has, I don't know, 800. So Power BI, Tableau, ServiceNow can all now use our API, and every metric that you can see in our advanced inspectors or in the reports is available in the API and the API builder. Some customers even use just simple Excel spreadsheets with a direct call to the API, because I want to build a pie chart for my boss. I want him to be able to hit go in an Excel spreadsheet and pull down the data whenever he wants to get it. Next slide. Process resources. So this is in login breakdown. In 6.6, we added the ability so you could actually see the CPU and memory and disk consumption of that system during the login process. So this comes in handy. Was my machine at 100% CPU during the login process? And when did it get there? What process? Was it a driver install, a GPO? What caused that machine to all of a sudden spike to 100%? So this is my Active Directory team can now help diagnose and improve that login time. Every batch file, PowerShell script, group policy that ran in that system is tracked every time a user logs in. So if I have a problem with a group policy or a PowerShell script, this tab right here is an hour-and-a-half long training class for the Active Directory team, and they use it like crazy. They should be monitoring this. A new view in 6.6 as well is domain overview. What domain controllers was I hitting for my logins? Is my sites and services messed up? It's a really easy view to see what DCs everybody's hitting and how many people are hitting. So if I've got 2 domain controllers in my Atlanta office and some reason people are logging in and they're hitting a domain controller in Chicago, chances are my sites and services is messed up, but it's really easy to find now in 6.6. Next slide. Oh, you unshared. Jason?
Did I?
Yep, it's back to the main screen here. It's like you unshared. There we go. Okay, work from home metrics. This is actually some of it was available in 6.5, or 6.5.1, but the external IP address. So if you've got your collector in the DMZ, I can detect that you're in Boise, Idaho on Comcast business line, because we do a reverse DNS lookup for the router that it came from. Latency test by IP names. This has been available for a while. Your Wi-Fi name, access point, SSID, all of that, the Wi-Fi frequency. Like I have a mesh network, a Google Mesh at my house. So as I move my laptop around the house, I'm hitting different access points. I'm also changing different frequencies, which really messes with my VPN. But I thought I had a VPN issue when literally it was just my machine. I'm not going to read through all of these. VM type, OS build, machine health, like the firewall, the antivirus, the CPU temperature, OS updates, are those being applied to the system? Here in the system, again, just an example, battery life. So what's the current battery life of my machine? Login breakdown. Oh, this is the domain overview I was talking about. So I can see each one of my domain controllers right here, and the number of times the logins and machine counts, number of abnormal events. Like this one down here has a lot of abnormal events. That domain controller could simply be corrupted, or it needs to be rebooted. So by looking at my login count, I can see the load distribution. You can't do this. Active Directory people don't have access to this data, and it's extremely necessary. Wi-Fi information, again, you're at distance from your access point, your frequency, all of that data that I need to diagnose. Jason's sitting at his house, and he's complaining about my Citrix environment when literally he's 80 meters away from the access point. traceroute data. This comes in handy because I can see latency. Latency tells me I have a problem. So from Jason's machine to Salesforce.com, he has a certain amount of latency. If I turn on traceroute, I can tell that he's going through my VPN to Chicago, then to Salesforce. Well, if I just do a split tunnel, then it'll go right out of his machine directly to Salesforce. Traceroute shows me where the problem is. So now we can track not only the latency, and I'm having a problem, but I can tell the networking team where is it. Process Optimizer. This has been around now for over 3 years, and I can't believe how many people are not taking advantage of Process Optimizer. This technology can extend the life of your physical equipment, sometimes 6 to 18 months, because it optimizes the CPU processes and the applications that's on top, the InFocus app. It also can allow you, even in virtual environments, to crush or quiesce bad actors. So Google Chrome, I'll give somebody 2 CPU, 8 gig of RAM, a decent VDI profile, but Google Chrome is eating up 80% of my CPU. Then they flip over to Teams, and the Teams call is terrible because the Chrome is eating up all the CPU. Well, since Teams is in the foreground, I'm actually fixing the Teams problem. I've actually used Optimizer on many customers to fix Microsoft Teams call quality issues, where in reality the CPU is just overloaded. It wasn't a networking problem. The CPU just couldn't process the packets fast enough. Thereby optimizing the CPU, we were able to get better call quality. ServiceNow integration, released 1.5 of our ServiceNow integration kit back in September 2021. I believe in March, we also certified it for the latest builds of ServiceNow. So it is fully available for all versions of ServiceNow that they support. Not a lot of features added in 1.5, mainly just some bug fixes and SQL updates and things like that. It's a pretty stable kit, being used by a lot of customers. Take a look at this. You can take all of that Stratosphere data and get it in the hands of your ticketing people. So those first line support guys. Also, my counterpart over in the UK, Barry, has worked with, I'm trying to remember the name of the service desk, Top Desk. I cannot remember the name of the app. So it's a competitor service now to create integrations. Jason, you don't happen to know the name of that?
Yeah, that's right. It's Top Desk.
Top Desk, okay. Yep, so we have a similar integration with Top Desk, which we'll be doing more and putting more stuff about that onto our website coming very soon. Power BI. This has gotten extremely powerful and extremely useful. Thomas, one of our engineers, is doing a lot with our customers to help them automate and analyze data. Show me everybody running this particular process, the machine name on it, in Power BI Cloud. It's not just a desktop version as well, so for real-time updates, things like that. But there's a couple of these exports on our community site, so I'd recommend checking that out. If you would like more information, reach out to your salesperson about having a session with Thomas. He's already built hundreds of templates. Chances are he already has one built for you that could be very easily tweaked. We basically give you the template and point it at your Stratosphere system, hit go, and you're off and running. Even if you don't know Power BI, it's a very nice interface. All right, so we talked about Stratosphere 661 is coming in July. New Mac OS agent. It's actually in beta now, so if you need it, we do have it in beta. Windows agent updates, more speed, more metrics coming into that agent. Bug fixes, and as always, more security updates. We hope to have this available in late July of 2022. And just for working out a little bit further, our 6.7 release, as you may have seen at our user group meeting back in February, we will be having a new UI. Everybody's excited about that for Stratosphere, having a new user interface, more drill downs, drill throughs, business intelligence, and we're actually going to be telling you, hey, you may be having this issue. Based on these metrics, you may be having this problem. So check that out. Hope to be able to do a tour for some of my customers around the July, August timeframe to show off our beta of 6.7. Oops, okay. Jason, you want to take the community site?
Yeah, let's see if we have any questions before we do that. Kristen?
Yes, hi there. I think you've answered a lot of these. So one of them was has the Mac agent been updated, which I believe you just addressed, but do you want to touch on that again?
Yep. We basically 651 to 6.6. We worked with a very large customer to basically go through and make sure that the Mac agent was 100% feature parity with the Windows. So monitor resolutions, hard drive information. We changed the way it actually renders data, a volume versus a disk. So in Mac calls it a volume, Windows calls it a disk. So make sure that shows up in Stratosphere properly. So there's been a lot of upgrades to and it currently in beta. But my beta customers have not had any issues, and it will be rolled into 661. So if you need it today, contact support.
I have another question that just came in from Aaron. Will this update be available in Azure?
Yes. Today, 660-2 images are available Azure, Amazon, and Google. As well, you can update those. The 661 will have new deployable appliances or an in-place upgrade for Azure, Amazon, and Google as well.
Thank you. And then David's just asking, how secure is it?
How secure is it? How secure is Stratosphere? So we live by DoD metrics at the end of the day. So we have to pass all of their scans, all of their STIGs. I don't know the name of the scanning program, NEST, I believe. And we post our security audits for every release is on our website. So if there is an identified vulnerability in the OS or our application, we have a certain amount of times, I think it's 30 or 60 days to get a patch out. Most time we are well ahead of that because we watch all the security boards. So there was something in the Java J2 patch, just like, was it February time, we had a patch out in 2 weeks because it was very secure. And from a security standpoint, our agent that's running on the machine has no attack surface. So our agent does not have an open port. The agent calls Stratosphere. It's a very important point because most other agents, they're sitting there with an open port. That is an attack surface. Stratosphere agents have absolutely zero attack surface on the workstation.
Yeah, we're in a lot of three-letter agencies, which by that we mean federal, U.S. federal secure sites. Our solutions across the board, we actually have some black level sites that are black box sites or whatever they call them, where we don't even know exactly where the software is being run. So we are approved at the highest levels in the federal government for security and meet all those criteria.
Okay, and then I have another question from John. Does Stratosphere monitor CPU temperature?
Yes, very important. Actually, in 2020 or 2021, I had to use it with a large bank where they had a certain manufacturer was catching on fire because their BIOS, the heat protection mode for that particular machine, and the BIOS wasn't going in heat protection mode, and it would actually catch on fire. So we used Stratosphere to identify every machine in the environment that was a certain model and that BIOS level, and they inform the user to turn it off until we can patch it.
Wow. Okay, and I think the last question I have here is from Kevin. I was on the user group meeting in February. When can I see the new UI?
We hope to be showing it off in July or August timeframe to our customers. So I'm not sure if we're going to do a webinar, but we will be doing guided tours and requesting feedback from our clients. So reach out to your salesperson to get onto that list. I'm waiting on an early alpha version myself, and then the SEs are going to give feedback internally for development, but it is coming along very nicely. I'm hoping development actually beats their Q4 timeline.
Excellent.
Right. As Kevin mentioned, he was on the user group, which we had our first Stratosphere user group in February. And we're looking to do more activities like that. If you're interested in any upcoming invitation-only user groups, we've had a few of those. Please let us know. You can reach out to us at info@liquidware.com, or if you know any of our personal addresses, you can have mine, jason.smith@liquidware.com, and we'll stitch you in. Another thing that's off off the slide deck here, I will mention we have a net new product that we plan to ship this year. And I won't give too many details of it, but I will say that it is for real-time remediation and troubleshooting help desk support. Stratosphere goes so deep and so wide and can see so much, but this is real-time, take over a desktop, things like that. We've had a lot of customers ask for that. We're looking for beta users. So if you're interested in that program, send myself or that email address that I just gave out. Send us an email, let us know. We'll get you into the beta program for that. So you'll have a first look at that up and coming innovative solution. We do have, aside from the user group, we do have a ongoing community that is online. Chris, you want to tell folks more about that since you're at the helm of it?
Yeah, the community site, so community.liquidware.com. Weirdly enough, we don't have a lot of users, but our hit rate is pretty high. So people basically log in, get what they need, like my spot check documents or Jack Smith's power tools or tips and tricks about packaging applications. All of that is posted up here. But we do have a couple customers who have logged in and actually posted recipes for things like on-the-fly memory additions with using Profile Unity. Desktop information like Power BI templates. So use our community site. That's where if a customer asks me something, or I have a lot of customers ask me, hey, how do you get back to login breakdown and that stuff? I built an animated GIF and put it onto the community site. So unlike our support site, which is handled by support, this is open for the SEs and our customers to post information as well as feature requests. This is the formal place where dev takes feature requests and clients can vote on it. So please go to the Stratosphere and Profile Unity and FlexApp sections. There are feature requests from other customers, even the SEs, and the dev watches that for the voting to determine which new features to put into the product.
Yep. And you can submit feature requests inside Profile Unity console at any time as well. Keep that in mind. And you can, if you're not a customer yet, or if you only have one or two of our solutions, you need the other two or three, you can evaluate them at, like, it's so frictionless. You're not going to have to wait for us to call. You can download right now at that URL. I know you can't click on that URL, but you can find it easy enough on our website. Click through, and there's a few fields to fill out, and you will immediately be able to download. There's licenses included, and we can even extend those if need be beyond the 15 days I think they're good for. So keep that in mind. We did the questions earlier. I'd like to thank Chris and Kristen for coming on. Kristen, you see any other final questions?
Nope,
You're on mute.
Oh, there we go. I do actually. What was the email to be included in the future user group session?
Yep, just
Aaron.
send us email at sales@liquidware.com or info@liquidware.com and ask that way. Or you can email me direct at jason.smith@liquidware.com. I'll make sure it gets to the right person.
Yep, or you can always email marketing@liquidware.com as well. I want to thank Jason and Chris for today's presentation, and please reach out with any questions. You'll just want to keep an eye out in your email inbox in a few business days, and we will send a link to this recording. Thanks very much for attending.
Thanks so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.